because I'm going to keep this as simple as possible. Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate that. Because I want to keep this simple as possible, because I actually was really surprised that so many of you wanted to hear this concept, right? Like, one of the things that I have my CSMs do, so Ashley and Michelle, is keep an idea of what's going on inside the community, like the conversations that you guys are having and talking about, because I want to know what you guys want, right? And the concept of how to become confident was really, really popular. And then I asked you guys, and like 50 of you were like, dear God, please do the training on confidence. So that's what we're going to get into. We're going to talk about like the cornerstone nuts and bolts of how to become confident, because let's get into this. And this part is not even in my notes. Confidence is, we're going to talk about where people go wrong with confidence. Confidence isn't, caught up in affirmations. Confidence is not caught up in motivation. Confidence is not caught up in anything like that. Confidence is truly your reputation you have with yourself. Think about that. Confidence is just your own personal reputation, because you need to start looking at, in the world of confidence, you got to start looking at this how it is with any other area in your life with other people. The reason you view it differently is because it's you. Does that make sense? So I want to know from those of you that are listening, and I want you to comment on this, whether you're live or you're watching the replay. I want to know truthfully, like, where you would rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 with confidence. 1 being like you're in the gutter. It is like non-existent. Or are you 10 where you're like 10 out of a 10, it could not get any better? Or like in between, like where are you at with your confidence? And this might change depending on where it's at. You know, in your weight loss, you may not be as confident versus your ability as a mom may be really confident. But I want to know but then your overall rating, like your confidence as a human, where would you put it? Let's see. We got some 8s, 9.5s, Abby, 6, about a 6. Got it. So let's get into this, because here's the thing. No matter where you're at, if you implement hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4 things I'm going to show you, it's going to help make that even better. So this isn't just for people who are not confident. It's those of you who are at a 9, like, let's get that to a 10. If you're at a 10, let's get that to an 11. If you're at a 3, let's get that to a 4. So let's get into all that. So here's the deal. When it comes to what I call the cornerstones of confidence, there are these big 4 things that we're going to get into. Number 1, you have to be in a stage of growth. Guys, my whole sleeve on my giant sleeve right here is it's literally my grow or die sleeve, because if you are not growing, you are actively dying and decaying. Think about we all know any skill set. If you don't use it, you lose it. Confidence is not something you get to and then it just stays there. Confidence is a project that you've got to constantly work on. That right there hopefully shifted the perspective on half of you guys. Confidence is not a state in which you get to and it stays there. Confidence is a project that requires daily maintenance. You know how we require daily maintenance? One of which is we are constantly growing. Because if you don't grow, you die. If you don't use it, you lose it. If you are not constantly pushing forward, you are slowly drifting and decaying and falling back. If you do not grow, you will die. If your confidence is not constantly being worked on, if your development as a person, your own personal development level is not moving forward, it is going to be falling backwards. That's just the way the game goes. That's just how this works. You have to understand, so much of the things that you guys want is not a state in which you get to and then it just stays there, right? Think of it this way. With brushing your teeth, do you ever get to brush them, get 0 cavities, and you never have to brush your teeth again? No, that's not how that works. But you require daily maintenance on your teeth, right? Because it's good oral health is not to a place you get to. It's a project which you got to keep working on. Happiness is not a thing where you get to a place where you're just happy all the time. Happiness is a state in which it's not a state in which you live. It's a project you've got to work on. Confidence is not a state in which you get to just stay and chill here once you do some stuff. It's a project that requires daily work. Your house doesn't just stay clean. You've got to work keeping your house clean every day. It's the same thing with confidence. A lot of people have this misconception that you did the thing that got you confident. Then it's like, why am I not confident anymore? It's because it will be fleeting like that. You have to continuously work on it. But one of the biggest cornerstones of confidence is you have to be growing. You have to be doing uncomfortable things and moving yourself forward and not staying stagnant. You do not stay stagnant and then remain confident. That does not work at all. So you have to be constantly growing yourself physically, like with your goals, growing yourself mentally up here, growing yourself spiritually, growing yourself in your relationships, growing yourself with challenges, growing yourself in your discipline, growing yourself in all these different areas. And then all of a sudden, guess what? You become really, really confident. But if you are not growing, you're going to be dying, and no one is dying and they're confident. That doesn't work. Okay. That's the first one, growth. So you have to ask yourself, am I in a state of growth? Because here's the thing, guys, if you're sitting there right now and you're just like not confident at all, then we have to look at like, okay, are we growing? Probably not. It's really hard to be growing and not be confident. Okay. So let's get, this is the next one, number 2. Confidence is simply, like I mentioned at the beginning, is simply your reputation you have with yourself. So like, think of it this way, like, what is your reputation with yourself? Are you a person that like always takes the easy way out? Are you a person that always breaks promises to yourself? Are you a person who's never good enough? Are you like, what stories do you tell yourself? You have to understand, like, your confidence is simply your own reputation with yourself. Number 2 and number 3 kind of bleed together, but you have to understand, like, think about it. If you have a story, your story to yourself is, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'm always going to be fat. I'm a piece of shit. I'm not supposed to be happy. Well, if that's your own reputation, then of course you're not going to be confident. You're not going to be happy. You guys have to understand, confidence and happiness go hand in hand. You ever notice the most confident people are usually the most happy? And it's really hard to be happy and not confident, because the key to happiness is the key to confidence, and which is really in number 3. But the big thing with number 2 to realize is just understand that your confidence in yourself is simply your reputation. So, like, honest to God, I want to know you guys in the chat, what is your reputation with yourself? Being totally honest. Do you keep the promises you make to yourself? Do you talk shit to yourself? Do you treat yourself badly? Do you put yourself last? Do you have this story of, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not supposed to be happy, I'm never the kind of person who gets what they want in life? If that's your reputation, you will never have confidence in yourself. It's never going to happen. You could have all the accolades in the world, and it's never going to matter because your reputation with yourself is terrible. Now, number 2 and number 3 go together. But we'll kind of make them specific. Number 3, this is the most important one when it comes to confidence. Like, I'm just prefacing it that you have to understand, number 3 is literally the gateway to all the confidence in the world. Number 3 is, how is your ability to keep promises you make to yourself? Because here's what you have to understand, guys. It's so simple. The formula for confidence is so fucking simple. It is literally do the shit you said you would do. Because we already talked about number 2, your confidence is your own personal reputation with yourself. But if your reputation with yourself is, I break promises, I'm unreliable, I don't do the things that I said I would do, I throw myself into the shitter because I'm not good enough, I say I'm going to start over Monday and I don't. Well, it's really hard to be confident in yourself when you know you are not reliable. Think about that. If you are not reliable, if you have this inner bullshit meter inside of you that's like, you could look at yourself and say, I'm confident, I'm good enough, I'm worthy. But then on the inside, if you're like, no, I'm full of fucking shit. I've been starting over diets for the past decade. I've been telling myself I'm going to make my bed tomorrow, and I don't. I've been telling myself I'm going to get up extra early and do yoga, and I don't. I've been saying I'm going to do better with my nutrition, and don't. I've been saying I'm going to go on date night more, and don't. Well, guess what? You're about to shoot your confidence in the fucking head. That's what happens. If you do not have good standing with yourself, if you do not have a good track record, if on the inside you know you cannot fulfill the promises that you make and you are an unreliable person, you will never have confidence. A lot of people think their confidence comes from like looking good and feeling good, like when they lose a bunch of weight. It's not true. I know a lot of people who are shredded who have zero confidence. When you get, the reason people like, in a lot of times in their fitness and their weight loss, they get confident, it's not because they look better and feel better. It's because they now have a track record of showing up for themselves. And that's what causes them to feel better and have more confidence. I'm telling you, your confidence and your ability to be a happy and confident person is when you have a good track record and moral standing with yourself. Think of it this way. Let's put this through the lens of somebody else. If your friend said, hey, I'm going to meet you at Starbucks tomorrow at noon. Let's just get coffee. And you showed up tomorrow at noon, and all of a sudden they blew you off. Like they just didn't show up. And then you text them, you're like, hey, what's going on? I thought we were going to have coffee. And they're like, oh, I wasn't motivated, so let's just meet tomorrow instead. You would go, oh, well, that's really shitty. Okay, let's meet tomorrow. And then they do the same thing. They're like, all right, we're going to meet us tomorrow at Starbucks. Then you show up and they did it. And you're like, oh, hey, is everything okay? Like, I thought we were going to meet up for coffee. And they're like, oh, well, my favorite episode of The Sopranos is on. I'm just going to decide to watch that instead. And they didn't even tell you. But let's meet tomorrow. And you might be like, okay, I'll give it another shot. They ghost you tomorrow. Are you going to be happy with them? Are you going to be confident in them? Are you going to have a belief in them that they can show up and are there for you? Not at all. So you're going to lose all the confidence and credibility and reputation with them, aren't you? Here's the thing. It's the same thing when it's you to you. It's the exact same thing with you looking at yourself on a deeper level unconsciously. If you know you're not reliable, if you know you can't be trusted, if you know you wouldn't trust you, if you know you have shitty credibility with yourself, you will never in the absolute world be confident. You might bullshit yourself for like 5 minutes with some affirmations, but then all of a sudden your true colors are kind of going to come out and you're like, why? Because you know it's getting bad when all of a sudden you quit saying things out loud. You're not like, yeah, I'm going to start to get on my journey tomorrow, because you know you're not going to follow through. Then all of a sudden you start just thinking, you're like, I want to go sit together tomorrow. And you just like think about it. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh, who am I kidding? I'm not even going to. This is a very dangerous route to get into. But here's the thing. Then the question is like, okay, Jared, I get it. But so how do I fix my confidence? Here's the thing. How you fix it is the exact same way you broke it. What would happen if your best friend, what would happen if that friend with that Starbucks analogy all of a sudden realized they're a piece of shit because they kept blowing you off and that you lost confidence and happiness and trust in them. And they're like, hey, look, I'm so sorry. I'm turning a new leaf. What can I do to earn your trust back? You've got to earn your trust back. Most of you guys have years of baggage and years of promise breaking. So now you're like, how do I earn my own trust back? What would you tell your friend? They've got to start keeping promises. They've got to show you in their actions that they're changed. How many of you guys whose confidence sucks are showing in your action? Turn the sound off. Turn the affirmations off. Turn the, oh, I'm good enough off. In just your actions alone, what's that say? Listen with the sound off. Most of it sucks. I'm telling you right now, you fix it the same way you broke it, and you've got to earn your own trust back. You're like, you make the decision, I'm going to get up early tomorrow, and actually get up early tomorrow. You want to throw in the towel and you don't throw in the towel. You say, I'm going to start doing these 3 things. And then you actually do those 3 things. You say, I'm going to work out 3 days a week, work out 3 fucking days a week. If you say, I'm going to get up and make my bed tomorrow, I'm going to make my bed every day. You make your bed every fucking day. If you say, I'm going to start reading a chapter in a book every single day, you better read that fucking chapter every single day. This doesn't even have to be weight loss related. Now, weight loss is a cool way to do it because you know you're not going to be motivated. You know you're not going to feel like eating right and training and doing your inner work. This is why weight loss works so well, is because it's hard. This is why, like we had talked about, you have to be constantly growing. If your actions every day are just like, oh yeah, I'm going to eat a whole pizza, that's not the same. You have to be able to do the things you don't want to do and do them anyway. That's how you build confidence. Where you are proving to yourself in your actions you're good enough, that you're worthy, that you are worth being shown up for. Guys, you have to understand, when you blow yourself off, you are unconsciously telling yourself, your inner child, you're not worth showing up for. Could you imagine saying that to a kid? Could you imagine going to a child and saying, you know what, little Timmy, you're not worth being shown up. You're not worth showing up for. You are not worthy of me showing up for you today. You're not good enough for me to even show up today. You would never say that to a kid, but you're doing it to yourself. When you blow yourself off, when you say, I'll start over Monday and don't, when you say, I'm going to get up early and don't, when you say, I'm going to start making my bed and don't, when you say, I'm going to do a gratitude journal first thing in the morning and don't, when you say, I'm going to start taking my vitamins and don't, you're basically looking at your inner child and saying, you are not worth showing up for. What would you do if you said that to your kids or your nieces or nephews? It would fucking shatter them. But that's what you're doing to you. Then you wonder why you're not happy. Then you wonder why you're not confident. Then you wonder why you're sabotaging your weight loss. Then you wonder why you know what to do but don't do it. It's because you have a shitty standard with yourself. How we fix it is the same way you broke it. You've got to earn your trust back. You've got to earn your credibility and your reputation with yourself back because it's broken. The only reason you're not happy, the only reason you're not confident is the only reason you're not happy, the only reason you're not confident is because your standard, your reputation, and your credibility is broken. We fix it by doing we fix it by doing the same thing we do with anybody else. You've got to earn it back in your actions. Show up for yourself when you don't want to. Do the uncomfortable actions when you don't want to. Make the commitments, then follow through on the commitments. Guys, that's why most people don't want to actually take ownership over their shit. When people go, I'm an all or nothing person. Life got in the way. I'm just, I'm all in or all out. That's someone validating their bad behavior to not show up for themselves. Try owning it. Try and saying, yep, I did not show up for myself today. I was lazy today. I did not show up for myself today. I threw in the towel today. I broke a promise to myself today. Own it. That's what this is about. So we fix it the same way we broke it by saying, here's my line in the sand and don't crossing it. By saying, here's the list of 3 things every day I'm going to do and do it. Here's the 2 things I'm going to do today and do it. Here's the plan I'm going to follow and do it. Because now what happens is when you draw a line in the sand and say, here's my stuff, now when you don't do it, whose fault is it? It's yours. This is why most people like to have obscurity. Well, I eat healthy and I'm not losing weight. What's healthy mean? I don't know. It's the same thing. You have to set the line in the sand, set the standard, and then keep the standard. And then number 4 on this list, because we got to wrap up, is here's the other thing with confidence, another mental frame. I'm going to ask you this, and I want to know your guys' honest opinions in the comments, whether you're watching live or replay. If someone treated your best friend the way that you are treating yourself, would you be confident or happy with them? If someone treated your best friend the way that you treat you, would you have confidence in that person? Would you be happy with that person? Would you be pissed off at that person? If someone talked to your best friend the way that you talk to yourself, if someone treated your best friend the same way you treat yourself when you're not motivated, if someone else had any inkling of familiarity with how they treated your best friend the way that you treat you, how pissed off would you be? So here's the thing. Don't you think that's a problem? Do you think that's like a big red flag? Like, no wonder I'm not confident. No wonder I'm not happy. Yeah, all of you guys are saying I wouldn't be happy at all. I kicked their ass. Yeah, that's right. This is the frame we have to look at this through, guys. Here's what you have to understand. The golden rule, like the do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. For most people, it's actually backwards. How about do unto yourself as you would do unto others? Most people totally shit on themselves and treat themselves like trash, but they give a homeless person the shirt off their back. They do anything for their kids. They do anything for their friends' kids. They do anything for the fucking person in line at Starbucks, but they treat themselves like absolute trash, like they're unworthy. Here's the thing, guys. You have to understand this. Here's the cool thing with confidence when building it. You don't have to be confident yet. You don't even have to like yourself yet. You just got to show up in your actions. That's the key. You don't like yourself. Dare I say it, you hate yourself and you're not happy and not confident, but you are choosing. It's a choice. You are choosing to do the things, the showing up for yourself to prove that you're worthy of being shown up for. That's the key. A lot of you guys have this gatekeeper of like, if I feel like it, I'll do it. If it's convenient, I'll do it. If I'm happy in myself, I'll do it. You don't guys, think of it this way. You don't like go from a track record of shitting on yourself and then being motivated. You don't go from years of like not keeping commitments to yourself and all of a sudden you're fired up to go work out. Like, this is so unpopular what I'm about to say, and I don't want you to take it wrong. For those of you who aren't confident and who aren't happy and who don't like themselves, I don't blame you. Again, half of you guys said if someone treated my best friend the way I treat myself, I would be fucking shitty. So I don't blame you for not being happy. I don't blame you for hating yourself, because if you have a bad reputation and a bad track record with yourself, I don't blame you for not being happy with yourself. Does that make sense? I don't blame you at all. So here's the thing. How we fix this is the same way we broke it. In spite of the whole in spite of mentality, in spite of not feeling like showing up for yourself, in spite of, dare I say it, hating yourself, in spite of wanting to give up, in spite of not feeling worthy, you are showing up for yourself in your actions because you are good enough. You're proving it. That's all it is. Here's the cool thing. It's a choice. It's 100% a choice. You're not helpless. You can hate yourself and show up for yourself. You can not be motivated and show up for yourself. Fun fact, you do it every day with work, with brushing your teeth, with showering, with taking care of your kids. This is no different, but because this is all you to you, it's where you have an issue with it. So those are the four. Those are the four keys, or those are the four cornerstones to confidence. Number one is growth. You have to be constantly growing or you'll be dying, and you're never happy or confident when you're dying. Number two, confidence is just your reputation with yourself. You have to fix that. Number three, excuse me, sorry, had something in my throat. Number three is your ability to keep promises to yourself. That is everything. And number four, if someone else treated your best friend the way that you treat you, how confident would you be in that? So now we got to change that golden rule. Do unto yourself as you would do unto others. That's it. That's the key to confidence right there, guys. Literally, you run with that. I'm telling you, you'll be scared. You run with that for the next month, you'll be feeling like a different person. You run with that for the next 6 months, you'll be scary. You'll be an entirely different human. So hopefully, guys, this was helpful. Let me know if you need anything. Thank you so much for all the comments and engagement through here. I want you to keep, okay, actually, here's what I want you guys to do now. I want you to go from here. I want you to make a post in the group. You guys know the rule. Go from here. Make a post in the group from what you got out of the call and the actions you're going to deploy against. Because I do not want you guys just being the rah-rah people in the comment section that are not changing their lives. If you are serious and you are like, I want to do this, I want you to, here's your line in the sand. I want you to go from here, make a post in the group, mention what you got most out of this call and the 1 to 2 actions you're going to play against. And that's your line in the sand. That's it, guys. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. I'll talk to you soon.